All right, good morning, guys. Back at it with another MLB DFS video. If you saw what the latest lineup that I posted to Twitter, that was like Funk makes a lineups and he sometimes asks me for my 2 cents. Majority of the time you fade my 2 cents, but that lineup we probably would be popping champagne right now. Like we would have each won in the $33 Roto Grinder contest. We each would have gotten like 3,500 bucks. Regardless, if you played like the small tournaments, you would have min cashed like barely. Gonsolin got 27, got yanked pretty early, but the Dodgers were killing Oakland. Um, Swanson 1 for 5 with a home run. Steer 1 for 4 with a 2-run home run. This one kind of killed us. Mookie left the game, but went 2 for 3 with a home run. Sia Suzuki, kind of a late home run, got us 28. And then Will Smith went 1 for 4, 2 runs, an RBI, and a walk. Wasn't terrible, but the line was so high. So we scored 168. We were 3/10 of a point away from min cashing the $33 contest to at least like min cash that. But overall, it wasn't that bad of a day. Um, give everyone the rant you gave me right as you hopped on here.
Yeah, we're in shambles. Basically, how we play, just single entry every day. Try to stay around 50%, stay afloat for the 1% bank. And yesterday we had the 1% bank about 20 minutes before lock. I sent it to him. I was like, this is it. Then I swapped because I started looking at optimizers and rejections and saw the Dodgers were just projected to pop, and they did. I mean, Mookie had 30. He was projected to be 40%, and he's 50% of $33. So I was like, damn, I gotta get Mookie. So I swapped, and it ended up costing us a share of first place in the $33. So painful because we had basically what carried us to the top was 1% Votto double donged, and then Dunning was like 10%. I mean, we didn't project Dunning to go 60 piece, but it would have been nice. And literally on the show, I said yesterday, I was like, why would I pay $1,000 more for Gonsolin when I can just pay $1,000 less for Dunning against probably a worse matchup? And it was just baffling. And I swapped off 2 home run calls. Votto and Morel were both in that lineup. Swapped off both of them. They both went yard. Just entirely painful. It's one thing to pivot, and there's one thing to pivot like off the things you actually say on the shows. Like it's just whatever. Three grand that we should have in the both our pockets down the drains, whatever.
It's a new day today. Hopefully, we get our lick back. Pitching is pretty cut and dry. Shohei, Urias, Keller, Sonny Gray, Javier Schmidt, Tyrone Wu, Hauser, Sears, Libertor, Luke Weaver. If you want to be safe, flip a coin between Otani and Urias. The only other pitcher I could think of is going to Sonny Gray, just because he's a slight cheaper than Otani. Playing against St. Louis, and he's only getting 1% ownership, but there's really nothing much else. I mean, Javier looks a little interesting, but I don't know. To me, it's just flip a coin between Otani and Urias. I would just go Otani to be safe and just eat the chalk there. But what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ownership kind of sucks between both of them, both being like 30%. I guess it just depends what kind of stacks you land on. If you need the price of 1,500 bucks between your eyes to like pay for, I don't know, Freddie Freeman or something. But yeah, I mean, Otani seems pretty safe. He's also just not that expensive. 10-4 should be at least 11K. We say that about Strider. Obviously, he should be like 12K. Otani, I mean, the upside it gives you is immense. Urias, he's definitely susceptible to getting blown up, but again, it's Oakland. They haven't done much all year. They probably won't do much again today. So I get Urias. Wu on the other side of the LA matchup someone interesting just because he kind of sucks against lefties, but I mean, the Angels don't really have that many. They got a couple switch hitters and they got Otani, but then they just picked up Cron and Grichuk are both righties. Renfro's a righty, Neto's a righty. Just don't really see them being all that dangerous for Wu. So maybe if you want to be a little different, he's probably not all that owned. Maybe sub 10%. Keller is just meh. I mean, there's just not much else. I don't like Javier, to be honest. Probably just going to stick with Otani Grice and then maybe Wu.
See, I told you guys, pitching is cut and dried today. I think that's the fastest we've ever got through pitching. So right now for the top stacks, it's got the Cubs, Dodgers, Minnesota, Cincy, Houston, Milwaukee. Whole list is here. What are you thinking? Because I mean, I think the first five look interesting, and then if let's say you were doing a 4-2-2, you can mix in a couple of these bets over here for shits and giggles, in my opinion. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I originally wrote down four teams, just comparing between this and Ballpark Pal. Twins, Cubs, Dodgers, Yankees. Yankees are a little far down on the stack tool, but they are projecting fairly well on Ballpark Pal and 1.5 home runs, and I can see Judge and Stanton like maybe getting a hold of a couple against Javier. Twins are fine, but they usually screw us over, so not sure if I really love them. And then the Cubs and Dodgers, top of the stack tool, top in projection of Ballpark Pal. Cubs projected for 1.5 home runs, Dodgers 1.7. It seems so cut and dry. I don't know. Cubs have been smashing like the whole last week, which is very frustrating. It's kind of like how the Braves were on that stint for like 10 days in a row. If you didn't have the Braves, you just weren't cashing. And the Cubs being 20% every slate, it's just so boring. If you want to get different, I'd say maybe like two man, some Yanks, power guys, two man, maybe even some Seattle guys if you're not playing Otani. Um, Projecting for some decent home run percentages like Suarez, Raleigh, J Rod, maybe even Teoscar. Just if you're not playing Otani, I can see maybe a couple home runs there. Other than that, I mean, it's just kind of a meh slate.
So as much as I hate the Twins, I think that they're in a decent spot. They're playing against Matthew Liberatore, who is kind of like the other day when Grayson Rodriguez was pitching for the Orioles. They're kind of the same. They're both like highly projected prospects. Are supposed to be amazing, but they're young. They're going to get lit up. It happens. Liberatore, I mean, just from base what I've seen, Rodriguez has been a little bit better, whereas Liberatore's been getting lit up a little bit, and both of them have been bouncing around from AAA, then getting called up to pitch and whatever. So, and I know we kind of don't like Minnesota, but I mean, they're in a good spot here. The Reds are in a good spot as well. Tyone, just not good. If I'm being honest, you can just do what we did last night and just stack the Cubs and the Reds again and call it a day. Cubs against Luke Weaver, sure. I mean, obviously, sorry, but obviously. The Dodgers look okay, obviously, against Oakland. It's the Dodgers against the Athletics. Houston against Clark Schmidt looks a little interesting. Schmidt kind of gets blown up a little bit from time to time, and then he randomly just has like an amazing game. That's kind of it, unless you want to get to um, the switch hitters from the Angels. I don't really see much else.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really touch on Houston that much, like you said. They are kind of interesting. I could see like a two-man Tucker, Yordy, if you can fit that, that'd be nice. Also, how many times is Chas McCormick going to drop 50 in a month? I think it's at least like four times. Crazy.
Mans is on a mission. All right, let's do lineup generator. Let's see what this thing likes. So we'll do Fanduel main 4-3-1 balance. Jesus Christ. You want to like anyone?
Just skip for now. Let's see where it goes.
Candelario, 70% Otani, really likes the Cubs, obviously. 30% of Urias.
I would
Likes a
say I'm
little bit of the
surprised.
Bird.
I
Huh?
would say I'm surprised by that Milwaukee popping, but like Adames and Contreras are always just 3K for absolutely no reason on every slate. So they're gonna pop regardless. And Stan's 3K.
90% of the Cubs, 50, Minnesota. Okay. And it's pretty much just Otani, Urias. And that's literally it. I thought that there'd be like a 1% of another pitcher. Kind of the same thing we've been saying the whole like show. It's just cut and dry, just go with the Cubs. It doesn't really like the Reds that much, which I kind of don't agree with. I mean, you got a little bit of Ellie down here, literally 5%, and he's not even on there. Um, but yeah, this is just a good way to figure out what's popping and what's not. You get all the lineups here. You can see the projected fantasy points, the percentage owned, and then you just export it to a CSV. So very interesting. It's good to use because I don't know about Funk, but I'm a moron sometimes with this stuff. So whenever I'm bored and I'm just looking around this stuff, it's definitely a helpful tool. All right. What's your home runs for the day?
Gonna go Will Smith, who we were hoping to go yard last night. His last at bat did not pan out. Stanton and J Rod.
I'm gonna go Max Muncy. I think he's due. Adley Rutschman and Glaber Torres. That's who I'm thinking. At least I hope. But that should just about cover everything unless you have any other thoughts. But I think we did an okay job. It's a smaller slate today, so
Yeah, we'll see. It's probably going to be a trash slate. Honestly, the Cubs are probably going to smash it 30% if we don't play them, and if we play them, they're going to score two. So I don't know. I'll try to get different. We'll see. Make sure to check out Stochastics tools in the description to check out all the data we just used and check out our lineup maybe 15 minutes before lock. Hopefully, I'll get out there earlier so I don't swap from the nuts again. And then like and subscribe if you haven't already.